Time now for another reason why Dan Proft is single.
Yeah, we've got a special installment of Why Dan Proft is Single today because we have a guest. The very interesting piece, his name is Haisten Willis. He's the editor of Commonplace magazine. And he writes of pride and polarization on the dating scene. One of the things I've just discovered, although it's intuitive, is that we've got a conservative woman supply problem. We've got a supply problem for conservative men. And so this is why we maybe need to expand our thinking when it comes to political disposition of the distaff side. Well, I'll hear him out. Haisten Willis, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
So, the leading with political polarization, and mainly we're talking about dating apps where people sort of wear their politics on their sleeve, and it sort of creates, it certainly limits the pool. But you're suggesting maybe that we try to minimize leading with the politics in person, even if it's not sort of pre-qualified in the dating app, or even if you meet through a friend or whatever.
Yeah, I am suggesting that. And the reason is, as you were saying, I mean, there's lots of reasons, really, but the primary reason is that the distribution here is nowhere near equal. There are roughly 2 liberal single women for every 1 liberal single man, and 2 conservative single men for every conservative single woman. So the distribution there just does not work. You're going to have a lot of people left out if you're saying, I won't date someone of the other party. And from what I understand, that is what a lot of people are doing. They'll put right there in their online dating profile, no Trump supporters or no Democrats or whatever. So, yeah, that's a major barrier. And, of course, we see this downstream as well. In the statistics, marriage rates are down, birth rates are down. People are having trouble connecting with each other for whatever reason. And I do think politics is one of those factors.
Well, the 2 liberal women for every liberal man, it's even worse than that, because I think half of those liberal men identify as women. So you have to factor that in, too. So there's a real surplus of liberal women out there. But wait a second. If there's not enough liberal men, why do I have to give? I know it's 1 conservative woman for every 1 conservative man. But if the liberal women can't find a liberal man, then they're going to have to move their politics right. So can't we do it that way?
Well, yeah, you would think so. But this becomes sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy over time, because Democrats also are much more likely than Republicans to say, I won't date across the party. It's roughly, depending on the survey, about 70% of Democrats say no Republicans, can't date one no matter what. Only about 30% of Republicans say that. So that kind of becomes a self-fulfilling, like I said, self-fulfilling prophecy, because liberal women, they end up saying liberal for this reason. If they don't date conservative, that keeps them that way. Interestingly, though, married women are actually narrowly right-leaning. So the
right.
liberalness and the singleness basically correlate there.
Yeah, I mean, you see married women move. I mean, there are obviously some single women when they get married and have family, and they're moving, to the right. That's the only way to understand what's happening. So there's always that prospect. Well, you mentioned in your piece that you're off the market. You've been off the market for a long time. So so give us your origin story, or the marriage origin story, and how you treated the political matter with your family, your wife.
Sure. So that's one thing that got me interested in this is when I was dating, high school, college, roughly 20 years ago. Dating is a huge deal, right? And the idea of approaching a girl I wanted to date, make me super nervous, right? This is a common thing. What if I don't say the right thing? What if I don't wear the right thing? Of course, what if she says no, right? You're very, very scared. But the last thing I was ever thinking of was, is she a Democrat? Is she a Republican? Who did she vote for? Right? That was not something that was on my mind. So when I'm talking to my single friends now, and they're saying that the very first question they get asked about is politics, that like kind of blows my mind. Like, why would that even matter to you? But as far as my relationship, so I met my wife in high school. and we probably went 10 whole years without talking about politics at all. So again, we had this very, very thick baseline of knowledge. We're in the same town, whatever, before politics really entered the scene in a bigger way, I guess about 10 years ago now. We don't always see eye to eye. She is more left-leaning than I am, which is, again, kind of typical. But I just don't think that's the most important thing about a person, right, is whether or not they voted for presidential candidate X in the last election.
Yeah, I mean, I want to agree with you, but I just have a difficult time wrapping my mind. I mean, but one of the things you say actually is, the politics face to face is so much better than trying to do this online and, and be so hostile, so preemptively hostile online. But I mean, so like I have a hard time seeing myself wanting to date somebody who voted for Kamala Harris, for example. I mean, it's just so far afield from my vision of sanity that it'd be very difficult. But by the same token, I have friends and people that are on the other side that you talk through the things, and I understand what they're doing, and it's very transactional for them. They're not, raving mad and stuff. But it's just difficult to say, boy, if it's just difficult to say, like thinking about like going the distance with somebody. And I'm sure, obviously, people who voted for Kamala Harris would say the same thing about this Trump voter. So, it's I don't know why it is. I agree with you. Like, so I'm older than you. I'm Gen X, but when I was growing up, it wasn't as pronounced as it is now in my teens and 20s. It was not. Maybe that was just my social milieu, that there was, relatively narrow parameters in terms of what the distribution of opinion was. But it seems like it's really difficult to get around that now. And in your piece, you were talking to people from different generations who were basically saying the same thing.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I talked to a Gen Z guy, so a young guy in his 20s, and he said, well, my generation's very political. Your generation, even me, I guess I'm a millennial, maybe doesn't understand my generation because politics are a bigger deal to us. But then I also talked, as I say in the piece, to a boomer, it's a guy in his 60s, about this, and he says, no, this is not a generational thing. I've seen this happen in real time because he's obviously been on the scene for a while, and said it's only been really in the last 10 years or so that it's been, politics first, the rest of your life second. So, and going back to yourself, like we're saying, that married women are so much more evenly split. So it's like if you could sort of get a single liberal woman to actually date you, you may be able to sort of move her to the right a little bit over time, and that's what the statistics say. But yeah, getting past those initial conversations definitely is difficult if you don't have anything else to sort of connect you to the person.
Well, I mean, the problem for me is, just in terms, I'm become sort of an expert on why I'm single. So the problem for me, the problem for me is I'm what they call a placeholder partner. So I'm just around until the woman finds somebody better. So I'm not, I'm not really thinking, in that way about, the long game, because I know I'm, basically. Like a seat filler at the Oscars or something like that.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Well, it's okay. It's just the cross I have to bear. I just want to go back to the thing about in person, because everything is so, the cultural shift that for example, the boomers describing, because everybody's using the dating apps. Everybody who's out there trying to date just about is using the dating apps. And so I think the technology also drives a bit of the culture shift, because because there's so many swipes you have to do or whatever, that you're trying to weed out. And this is a quick way, sort of a quick handle to weed out some people to get to, your ideal thing, as opposed to if you meet in person, then you may find that there's, the edges are not nearly as sharp as they appear to be online.
Yeah, I think you could, but it's like you're saying, it's like the matter of getting to that point. Because, I never online dated. I guess I was lucky enough to sort of find somebody before that really became such a big thing. But yeah, from what I understand, instead of people in your neighborhood or your school or your church, it's, everybody in your metro area. So it's just this massive number of people. So yeah, you're kind of looking for ways to draw the number down so it's not quite so overwhelming. So an easy way to do that, of course, is to say, all right, I'm a big Trumper. I don't want any of these crazy Kamala Harris people on my timeline. Cut all them out, and reduce the number. It sounds great in theory, but again, the statistics bear out that it doesn't really work out very well for the reasons we've discussed here.
Over time in your marriage, I know you said you didn't talk about politics for like the first 10 years you guys were dating together. So how has politics in your marriage sort of evolved or been discussed, given that there's some difference of opinion?
Yeah, I mean, it's it can be testy sometimes. It's not always easy to sort of talk about these things because we don't always see eye to eye. Just as I wrote in the piece, I just think it's a matter of trying to explain, patiently, here's what I think, here are the reasons why. I understand you may disagree, and that's fine with me, but we have to kind of, I guess, find a way to agree to disagree on some of these things. But this happens with lots of stuff. It's not just politics. I mean, we have kids. We don't always necessarily agree. If one kid is acting up, how to punish the kid or how to deal with disciplining them and things like that. So there's lots of different things that cause tension. Of course, you have family members, in-laws. We get along very well, to be clear. I'm just saying there's lots of different tension points that come across in any given day, and politics is just one of those, as I see it. Yeah,
I got a text from 224. Why be someone you have to try to change? Well, I think part of the answer to that, see if you agree with this, is that they may have some differences of opinion within certain parameters on you in politics, even being a Kamala voter, for example. But they may they may have other good qualities too that you appreciate, and they're not, they're sort of just maybe they're like just reflexively Democrat, or maybe they just don't like Trump and they're just voting against Trump, but you actually have some points of commonality. I mean, it's there's layers to this.
I think so too, and of course the experience of dating does change you, right? We see this also in the sense if you get married, buy a house together, hopefully have children, that affects people's politics. Generally speaking, it makes them more right-leaning. But it does change who you are. So it's not you shouldn't think of the person, I guess, as being this sort of set fixture. Okay, they're definitely going to be liberal and think politically forever the way they think politically right now. They can change over time, and in theory, Dan, or you or someone else can be the person that affects that change.
Yeah, maybe. Haisten Willis, editor of Commonplace magazine, the piece "Pride and Polarization" at his Substack. Haisten Willis, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Glad to be here. Thanks a lot.
And he joined us on the alphawealthgroup.com answer line.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer.
We all hear the radio ad